Hey guys, you want to see how I take this $15 LED tail light from Harbor Freight and make LED tail lights for my C10 out here? Watch the video, I'll show you how, right here. Alright guys, before we get started, a few things you're going to need. A good heat gun, you're going to need a good soldering iron, soldering gun, soldering torch, and you're going to need a hot glue gun. Those are some things that you probably don't have laying around that you're going to have to get or borrow or something. But you will be doing a little bit of soldering. You will be doing a little bit of gluing to get this all to work. But show you what I've got here. Went and got one of these lights from Harbor Freight. It's the LED submersible. Item number is 93263. You want to pick up a couple of those. And I got this old tail light bucket here. And it's hooked to a wire. I'm fixing to paint it. Get you a couple of these. You can buy these new. I would recommend going ahead and buying a couple of them new. There's one that I've already done. I would recommend getting these new, guys. Also, your tail light lenses. I ended up buying a couple new tail light lenses. The tail light lenses and the buckets, I think I've got probably about 40 bucks in. Not too bad for brand new stuff. So you want to make sure that at least the ones that you have are good. The lights from Harbor Freight, I think about $16 a piece. So we're looking at doing these LED tail lights, guys, for under $100. You know, you're gonna have a little bit of material and miscellaneous stuff that you're gonna have to get, maybe some wire. But I'm gonna try to show you how to do this in the most cost-effective way that you can do it. You can even use your own. If your tail light lenses look good, you can rig up your buckets, see how you like it, and if you don't like it, go buy some new tail light lenses and that'll probably fix it. So with that, I'll get started, show you how to bust these lights apart. They are glued, they are submersible, and it takes a little bit. You gotta be patient, guys. Show you right quick. You're trying to get this card out of there. This is an LED card, okay? And you wanna get this out of there without breaking it, without messing it up. And I'm going to show you how to do that the best way that I know how. I've done 6 or 7 of these already. I've messed up a few, but for learning purposes, it's costing me a little extra money, but I'm going to try to show you how to do it without making the same mistakes that I did, and maybe you can do it cost effective and have you a good set of cheap LED tail lights. They're not sequential. The ones that I saw online that were sequential tail lights, and they were LED. They range between $220 and $240 shipped to the house. I can't spend that kind of money on tail lights, and I'm sure a lot of you guys out there are not going to spend that kind of money on tail lights. So let me show you how to do these for under 100 bucks for 2 of them, and hopefully everything will turn out good and everything will work great. So with that, I'm going to get started. I'll pan the camera down, and we'll get going with the process. All right, guys, got your tail light out of the box, or out of the package here. You can kind of see the card inside that red lens there. That's what you're going after. First thing you want to do, we're going to heat this up with this heat gun. It's going to get really hot, so you need to get you some good gloves. But before we get started, I'm going to take a step bit here. You want to use a step bit so you don't shove through and mess up that card. You break that card or knock a hole in it, you're gonna have to start all over, and you pretty much just wasted some money. So with a step bit and a drill, just punch your little hole here in the side. All right. What that's gonna do is that's going to give you something to pry against when you're heating this up, because you're going to be holding on to this. You're going to try to pop it up off of there. We'll get started with that, probably speed up the video and show you the process, how to pop that red lens off of there. That's it, guys. Okay, guys, you can see that looks pretty rough trying to get into there. If you can ever get you a good spot, get started, and then keep heating it up, take that screwdriver and stick it in there. Take that screwdriver and stick it in there like that, and just keep prying it up, work it around, work it around. It'll finally pop off of there. You can see that adhesive on there. That stuff is pretty bad stuff, man. It's tough to get it going, get it busted off of there. You're probably gonna melt this pretty good, and maybe some of this right here. But if you can ever get going with it, guys, it'll start finally coming up off of there. Just work it all the way around until you're able to bust that lens off of there. Be very careful though that you don't get in there prying around and break this card or scratch the top of this card with that screwdriver. You want to be easy going around there. You can get your little hole started to give you something to get your screwdriver where you can melt in there, and then you can take off all the way around, and that lens will finally pop up off of there. Okay, now that you've got this lens off of here, you've got the lens off of there, you've got this card. If you look really close on these Harbor Freight lights, see that gray tab right there? There's a little gray piece of plastic sticking up out of there, and what that is that's melted to keep the card from prying out, okay? What you want to do is you can take a razor blade and very carefully cut that off of there, or you can take a drill bit like I'm about to do and be very careful with it. You want to take and drill and just kind of trim those edges off of that. You can take and heat that screwdriver up and kind of press it off of there, mash it around, however you have to do it without damaging that card, okay? You can take that same drill with that drill bit, that step bit, stick it on there and make sure you're centered up, and you want to run nice and easy with it. Pay close attention to it. Make sure you don't get into the card. A little bit at a time. Drill it a little bit and check it. Drill it a little bit and check it. You want to make sure that you don't get into that card. Same thing on the other side. Nice and easy. Get it going. Let your drill set, your drill bit set. Take it off of there and look at it. Make sure you're not getting too deep into that card or messing with that card any. Nice and easy, both sides. Move back and forth a little bit if you need to. But you want to get that plastic trimmed off of there, okay? once you do that, once you think you've got enough off of there on both sides, with a screwdriver, very carefully pop it up. You see that? See how easy that comes up? Popped it right up. Now you don't want to push too hard because these are soldered connections in here. I'm going to show you how to get those loose in just a minute. But very carefully, just make sure it's popped up. You pry it too hard with it and you're going to break the bottom of this card. I know because I've done a couple. So we'll come back, I'll show you how to get those soldered connections out and we'll go from there. Alright, so I've got my soldering torch going. If you've got one of the ones that plugs in, go ahead and get it going. And what we're going to do is we're going to touch these connections and heat that solder up and slowly pry that card up just a little bit until it comes loose from the assembly.
Be patient with this, guys. It takes a minute. If you've got a torch that'll stand it like that, that makes it even easier.
Be easy with it and be patient. There it is. Got your card off of there. It's not damaged. Everything looks good. You see your 3 prongs sticking through there that are epoxied in. You can't really get this card out without breaking that. I can already tell you. It's I've done a few of them and it's hard to get out of there. So if you can heat that soldered joints up, it'll come right on out.